Welcome to Madrid Reviews. This is your host, Christian Madrid. And on today's video, we're going to be talking about Final Destination Bloodlines. Let's get to the video now, y'all. Alright, y'all, let's get into this. So, this movie was nuts. I just watched the newest Final Destination movie, and I didn't expect to like this movie as much as I did, as this was a great fucking film. The directors of this film did a great job with it, and I think, I haven't watched all the Final Destination movies. I just saw the first and this one, but I like this one better than the first, and it makes me want to go back and rewatch all of them because, I've been sleeping on this franchise all these years because I did like the first one, On a second watch, I liked it better, and this movie was fucking badass, I really liked it, so I want to go back and watch 2, 3, 4, and 5, Yeah, I can't believe I've been sleeping on the Final Destination franchise all these years, The writing was spectacular in this film. And it's got the same premise and idea from the previous films, but it adds a new story, new characters to the film, and it works very well with this family and the bloodlines, the grandma. There was an incident with the grandma when she was younger, and then obviously she has a family, and since she was supposed to die on that space needle, that ended up, she prevented, from people from dying as the cracks was gonna fucking fall and all that, she goes on to have a family, and then she has kids, and her kids have kids and all that. So this bloodline was never supposed to exist. So once she dies, then one by one, death is gonna take them, It's a great, it's a great new take on this world of Final Destination, and it works very well. It's over the top, and it gets even more crazier and violenter than I saw in the first film, for sure. As the kills, they're very creative, and this movie very bloody. The movie is also very suspenseful, and, it brought, there's big stakes in this movie, high stakes characters are facing, as death, it is no joke in this movie, Man, yeah, I really feel bad for the way some of these characters die. Oh my gosh, there's a hospital scene in particular, my favorite scene in the movie by far. Oh my gosh. The acting is not great, but good enough to make the characters interesting and likable. So everyone, they do a solid job, The cinematography is great in this film, as it's well shot, a great production design behind it, I like that there's a mixture of both actual locations and, some green screen in it. But there's great use of these locations, The visual effects are spectacular in this film. Great, use of both CGI and practical effects, and it's bloodier. It's bloodier than ever, I had a great time with this, and it looks pretty realistic, dude. It looked pretty realistic, the violence in this movie, and it's even more bloody. The sound effects are great, with a great soundtrack, and both these elements make this film more intense, The editing was very well done in this film, as it's got a fast pace, it's only an hour and 50 minutes, and it flies by very quick. Overall, Final Destination Bloodlines is a great film, and, I need to go see the other films in the franchise, and see which one's my favorite, but I think this one might be, and I highly recommend watching this film, especially if you are a fan of this franchise, so check it out. I'm giving Final Destination Bloodlines a B+. We did very good watching this movie, in and out, Raising Cane's, Chick-fil-A type shit. Alright, y'all, so that's the end of the video. Don't forget to hit that like button, comment on whether you have seen this movie or excited to see it. And if you've seen this movie, let me know your thoughts. What is your favorite Final Destination movie? And if you haven't already, hit that subscribe button and alerts to know when I drop a new review. Appreciate you all for watching. See you in the next one. Have a good morning, afternoon, or night, whatever time you watch this. Thank you so much for taking the time out of your busy day to watch me talk about movies. Thank you. Bye-bye.